So as we get started today, this video is divided into chapters. If you want to skip at any point, just look at the sliding bar underneath the plating window and you can see the chapters to skip ahead. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd House, my friends, over at yarnspirations.com. I'm your host Mikey. Today we're going to do the post stitch washcloth, and this is using Red Heart Scrubby yarn, but I'm going to be demonstrating two ways today. I'm going to be demonstrating it with Scrubby. Here, this is Scrubby and Scrubby Sparkle, and then I'm going to be demonstrating with Lily Sugar and Cream, so you can see exactly where the stitches go because it's kind of harder with this particular yarn, and it works out pretty good. And we're gonna be getting involved today. You'll need a 5mm size H crochet hook today, and let's just talk about the ins and outs of this pattern. It's really quite simple. So you're going to notice that this is not a variegated yarn. There's actually three different colors, the red, white, and blue, and you can change the colors as often or as little as you wish. You can just use one color if you want to. It's up to you. When you are using multiple colors, you're just gonna carry it up on the side, and when we do the border for this, which is not done on this sample yet because I'll do it with you on camera, is that you're gonna go over top of those dangling pieces so that there's no cut yarn, so it gets hidden underneath the border. So it's really a nice easy concept. You can go as big or as little as you want to. The outside border is just a matter of just circulating around. It does give a stitch count of like 14 single crochets equally spaced across, but again you can do whatever size that you want to as long as you do your corners correctly. So let's begin, and we're gonna start off with our Scrubby first, and then we'll begin to do the Lily Sugar and Cream second. So let's begin. Let's create a slip knot, create a longer tail so that you can use a tapestry needle to hide in the tail ends later. So let's do that, and you're going to chain a total of 17 to start. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Once you have all 17 done, you're ready for row number 1. Now I know it's hard to see in the Scrubby, but you just have to trust in it. If you use Bernat Pipsqueak, it's actually just like that. You use your fingertips, but you can probably see it a bit as well. So you're gonna go third chain from the hook, so count it back. So 1, 2, and 3, and turn it around and get the back hump of the chain, and you're just going to double crochet into the back hump of each one of the chains going all the way across. So once you get the first back hump done, the second one should just pop right out. Again, I have experience with this, and I will demonstrate it with Lily Sugar and Cream as well, so just in case you need more of a visual. So just double crochet yourself all the way back across, and I'll see you back here in just a moment. When you get all the way across on row number 1, there should be 15 of these double crochets, and the chain that you jumped over, that you skipped when you went third chain from the hook, also counts as one of those. So let's turn our work and do row number 2. In row number 2, you're gonna chain 1, and then just in each stitch, you can probably feel it, but you may be able to see it, and just at the top of each stitch just single crochet across. So nice and simple, and just look at the post underneath and you know that the stitch is right above it, and please do that all the way across. This is row number 2. As I'm coming close to the end, just don't forget that turning chain is also a stitch, so don't go into a space, go right into the stitch work itself to finish it, and that will conclude then row number 2. So as we start rows number 3 and 4, we're gonna be doing a different color, but don't finish anything off, just let it go off to the side, and we're gonna grab some new yarn to play with. The second yarn I'm using is Red Heart Scrubby Sparkle. So this is just regular Scrubby, this is the sparkle version, and you can actually see the core a lot more easier because it is a different piece. So we're gonna be doing that next, and I'm just gonna grab a piece of that, and let's begin to work that into this piece. So keep the yarn strands separate from each other as you start the next row. Slide on a slip knot of the new yarn coming on, and you are going to chain 3. So 1 and 2 and 3, and just make sure the yarns are not tangled with each other. Now usually that counts as a double crochet, but in this pattern it does not. So in the very first stitch you are going to double crochet. Now the second post in 2 rows below, you can just feel the post, but it's actually right there, I can see it, is where we're gonna put a front post treble. So come on down and go to the second one over from the edge, and you're going to put in a front post treble, and then that counts as the stitch that it's sitting in front of. So the next stitch when we come back up is going to be a double crochet, and then the next one is a front post treble coming down. So it's every other stitch, if that helps you to know that. So the next post is gonna not have it because you have a double here, and so you'll do the next front post treble. Okay, so there's like almost like a space between them. So then we come back up here and we do the next double, and then we jump back down. So we're gonna skip that post, go to the second over, and do a front post treble. And you're gonna do that all the way to the other side. And that's what it will look like. So it's just double and then a front post treble down. And please do this all the way to the end. So I'm coming all the way across. So the second last post will be the front post treble coming down, and then the last post will be then the double, like that. So then you turn your work keeping the same color. So the colors will always change on the same side. So we have to come back. So every other row is the same thing. So just chain up one and just single crochet, and you can see with this particular sparkle yarn you can see the stitches instead of just feeling for those. So just single crochet yourself all the way back. This is row number 2, and you have to change your color again as per the recommendation, but again you can decide to do whatever you would like to do. So we will change the color back to green just to make sure that you understand that point of view. So when you get all the way to the end, remember that the first chain 3 never counted as anything, so just pull things nice and tight. So it's just the last double crochet is where you're just gonna single crochet, so don't put in an extra single crochet. So finish that stitch completely, drop this yarn and bring up the other color that you're playing with, or add a new color. It does suggest 3 colors. So you're just gonna pull through. So that's 1 chain of 3 and 2 and 3, and then you're going to restart with what you already know. So then coming back down into the same stitch, you're going to double crochet, and essentially we're matching exactly what we see. So the next one is a front post treble here, so we're gonna make this one a front post treble around that same one. And so the next one has to be a double, and then the next one is coming back down. So you're just matching exactly what you see. That's as hard as this thing gets, really. And then the next one has to be a double. So please do this all the way across. I'll see you at the end of this row in just a moment. So I'm coming all the way to the other side, just matching what's already there below, and then the last stitch is a double crochet, and then you're gonna turn your work and go back. So to go back is always the same, pretty much chain up 1 and then single crochet yourself all the way back. You can use your fingertips, and I can actually see the stitches in person, but it's harder on camera because you're not in front of it directly. So please go back all the way and single crochet, and then we're gonna talk about the repeating and then move on in this tutorial today. So here are the samples side by side. So this is as per the instructions. So you can see that the second color can be visible 3 times, and then the main color that I started with is 4 times. Remember, the pattern does show that there's 3 colors, so that you can still follow the pattern and get that. Now when I teach you the outside border of this, I'm just gonna improvise a little bit. You can keep it to the stitch counts if you want to, but what you just need to do is keep cycling through until you get to the size that you would like to go. So just refer to the pattern for that information if you're looking for it, or just kinda look at this example and say that's what I'm gonna do. So what I'm gonna do now is move on to the Lily Sugar and Cream version, just to demonstrate this once again using yarn that you can actually see the stitches with. So let's restart again, and I'm using Lily Sugar and Cream yarn today for this particular portion of the video, so you can see the stitches. So I want to chain a total of 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Once you have your 17 there, we're going to start row number 1. So let's start row number 1. It says to go double crochet 3rd chain from the hook. I believe it's the 4th chain, but if you'd like to do the 3rd, it's up to you. So 1, 2, 3, go to the 4th chain and then start your double crochet at that moment. and I want you just in the back hump just working your way all the way across, and you should have a total of 15 double crochets that are done, and that includes that chain that you just jumped over. So there's technically 4 right now. So please double crochet yourself all the way across your chain. So I ended up in the end, so 4 chain from the hook is the right answer, and then what we're going to do is turn our work and go to row number 2. In row number 2 you're just gonna chain 1 and you'll put 1 single crochet in each stitch going all the way across. So please do that all the way, and I'll see you at the end of the row in just a moment. So I'm coming up all the way to the end. Don't forget this turning chain here. That's also a stitch, so go right into the chain at work itself. Don't go into the main space, and finish that, and then lay this back down, and we're going to introduce the secondary color as we move on to row number 3. Keeping a long tail, just create another slip knot with your new yarn. Put this to the back. Don't fasten that off, just keep it there and just put this on. And you're gonna chain 3 so that it's 1, 2 and 3. This will not count as a double crochet as we talked about before. So keeping the tails in behind, and in the top of the first one that we're coming out of, we're going to double crochet. So that first chain 3 is just a builder. Now starting in the second post 2 rows below, you're going to do a front post treble down, and that counts as the stitch that it's sitting in front of, and so the next stitch is a double crochet. So every other stitch is going to be jumping down like this. So this one here, that's part of this one, so we have to jump here the next time we jump. So it's a front post treble, and then the next one has to be a double. This stitch combination is called the alpine stitch, but it's the next time that we do this which eliminates it from being the alpine stitch. So but it's the same concept. Okay, so coming down, so come down every other one and put a double crochet in between, and then we'll be at the end of the row in just a moment. So if your math is right, the second one before the end is the last one that comes down to, and that's keeping it in sync, and then the last stitch here is a double crochet. So the stitches will continue to be consistent, and the color changing will always be on this side of the work. So we have to turn our work and then move to number 4 to come back. In row number 4 you're gonna chain up 1 and put in 1 single crochet into each. So every other row is the same thing in the return pass of just single crochet coming back. And then what we're going to do is that I'm going to release this yarn, not fasten off, but just put it to the side, and we're going to then bring back the blue. In the example there's actually 3 colors, so you can decide to do 3 colors if you wish, but I'll just show it. I'll just keep it consistent and just showing you 2 for now. When you come back all the way to the end, don't forget that there is a chain 3 that does not count as a stitch and the first double crochet, so you're only coming into the double crochet and finishing it and then laying it back down, and we're going to change the color back to blue. So put this yarn in front of you and grab that blue that was just dangling off to the side and just kind of pull up on it, and so it comes up from behind, and you're gonna start the next row. If this strand is on the front side, it doesn't really matter as long as it comes up, and just make sure that you don't leave any like really loose strands there. So you're gonna chain 3, so 1, 2, 3. That doesn't count as anything, and you'll double crochet in the first one. So you did that before, right? And now instead of coming down into just a regular double crochet, we're only gonna be playing when we come down into these front post trebles, and this is what changes it from not being the alpine stitch. So coming down is a front post treble around the existing front post treble, and then that counts as the stitch that it's sitting in front of, and so you'll double crochet in the next. So the posts are gonna match each other, so this is gonna look like ribbing on the front side, and you'll go all the way across in the same format, and then meet me on the other side in just a moment. So coming up to the other side, you're just matching your stitches that you can see, and it's easier to see the sparkle yarn too when it's in this particular format, like going around the post instead of individual stitches. So then you'll just double crochet in your last one, and there you go. So you have to return, so turn your work, and then just chain one and one single crochet going back. So this is the repeat then for the entire pattern, and we'll talk about what to do next. So of course we have our scrubby sample here. We have the Lily Sugar and Cream. So you can see that the secondary color is shown 3 times. So this green is shown once, and then it will show again and then again when you're transitioning that. So every 2 rows you change the color. So eventually you'll end up on the top. If you don't happen to have the same amount of stitches, or you want to make it longer or bigger, you can do so, because I'm just going to improvise on the border just to show you how that can be done. Now the trick is as I mentioned in the scrubby version, is that you'll have these sides that are carrying up. So when we do the border, we're gonna be putting those underneath as we go around, so we can trap those into position. So what I want to do is just show you how to finish off. So once you get all the way to the top, you don't want to fasten off, and so you just want to keep that on. But what I would highly recommend before you do anything else is that any loose ends that you do have, because you would have had to finish your yellow or your secondary color, so we want to put those into a tapestry needle so that we can hide that in next. So let me show you that. So any loose ends that you'll end up having, just throw it through a tapestry needle. You'll want to do that so that you can hide these in. You will be scrubbing, of course, or somebody will be, and so you can pull a loop on there to let that go. Okay, and then all you're just going to do is drag this through the same color, and the trick is to drag it through a total of 3 times. So when you pull on it, don't change the shape of your project by over tightening, and you want to go back and forth inside the stitch work in slightly different paths a total of 3 times. So all loose ends that you have, you will need to do that, including the starting strand. And so please do that, and then I'll be back in just a moment. So all my tails are in. We still have the carrying strands that are up on the side, which we're gonna bury in on the first revolution. There's a total of 3 rounds. Once you get your first round done, the rest of the other 2 just follow suit. They have a color change opportunity if you wish, and that's something that you can keep in mind. So as you begin, you want to just chain up 1, and you want to go into the very first stitch, single crochet, chain 2, which will help you turn the corner, and single crochet in to the same stitch. So now your corner is established. So just going across, and you're just going to single crochet, and it states that there's 14 single crochets in between the corners. Again, you can improvise. Honestly, it just is something that you can eye up on your own. And so we want to get ourselves to the other corner, which is the top piece. So in the very last stitch, you're going to single crochet in, chain 2 to turn the corner, and then coming back into the same stitch. Now down the side, we want to equally space in the chain work itself, and in this case there is no carrying strands, but there is on this side, which I will demonstrate when I get over there. So you're just going to equally space out your single crochets going down the sides. Now focus on the actual chain work itself. Don't focus on pulling out a chain so it's separating. So when you going in, don't go into a space, go right into a chain, and equally space out your single crochets as you're working your way down. And then I'll see you at the next corner in just a moment. So coming in, the corner is next, and so it's the very top of the bottom starting chain. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and this is the starting chain, so just work your way equally across. You should be able to feel for the stitches. If not, you can see them, and you're just gonna single crochet across until you hit the next corner. So on the next side that we're about to hit, then we will be covering over top of those strands that were being dragged up on the sides. So I'm already at the next corner. So I single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into the same. Now I'm gonna work myself up this side, again equally spacing into some chain work or the side of the posts. And so anything that's being dragged up like this, I just want to make sure that I go over top of it so that it gets stuck up underneath the stitch work. So you'll see that color there, and then this yellow is being dragged. And just make sure that you just crochet right over top of it, and that'll get it stuck underneath. So it's a great way to change colors without having to change your yarn strands and like cutting strands and having to weave in ends. So just coming all the way back to the other side. Just take your time. I feel like I'm rushing because I am. And then eventually you end up back at the start of this round. Now you already started with the corner the way that I demonstrated it, so you're just gonna slip stitch it to the very first single crochet that you started with, and that will conclude that round. So we're gonna do 2 more rounds and then we'll be back in just a moment. To start a next round, just slip stitch to the next chain 2 space and start there. So just chain 1, single crochet, chain 2 and single crochet into that space, and now you can just single crochet across all the way on the top. You should be able to see, if not feel, the stitches, and you're gonna go all the way around. So on the corners it'll be single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then just keep on moving on. So you've already established the stitch work on the first round, so now it's just a matter of following suit. And I'll see you at the end of this round and we'll just recap one more time. So I came all the way back around, I slip stitched to the first single crochet, and I'm starting my third and final round. So a slip stitch to the chain 2, which I've already done, chain 1, and then start into the corner. So single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So that's a single crochet. And then you're just gonna follow around once again, just matching the single crochets together, and then on the chain 2 space corners place in single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Do this all the way around for this final round, and if you want it bigger you can keep on going, but if not we're gonna be finishing off in just a moment. So I'm coming all the way back around and I'm slip stitching to the first single crochet, and then that's it. The story is ending. So we just have to fasten this off. Make sure that you do a longer tail so that you can put this through a tapestry needle, and I've already shown you how to weave the ends in and out a total of 3 times. So turn it to the back side. The back side you can see just looks like regular stripes, and you were just going to feed this through the tapestry needle and weave it in and out a total of 3 times. So this here is the post stitch crochet washcloth by Yarnspirations, and this is using Red Heart Scrubby, and in the tutorial today I demonstrated using Red Heart Scrubby Sparkle, which is in the yellow too, so it gives it a little bit of shine. Have a good one, and we hope to see you again real soon. Bye bye.